BMW's third generation X3 is a premium mid-sized SUV that's a plusher, more spacious and more powerfully efficient choice than its predecessor, stacking up impressively against prestigiously badged alternatives from Audi, Mercedes, Jaguar and Volvo in this sector. Like its rivals, dynamically targeted almost exclusively towards on-road use, it's another example of just how car-like a model of this kind can be.
This Mark III model X3 has been tasked with serving up a more rewarding driving experience than its predecessor. Hence the changes that have been made here. A greater rearward bias for the xDrive four-wheel drive system, a small but significant 55 kilo overall weight saving, and the addition to the lineup of the first ever X3 M performance model, the M40i, a straight-six 360 bhp petrol powerhouse that goes Porsche Macan hunting at the top of the range. Our focus here, though, is on the more mainstream models, all of which this time around get xDrive four-wheel drive and a silky smooth 8-speed automatic gearbox. There are two four-cylinder derivatives, a 184 bhp petrol xDrive 20i model that hardly anyone will want, and a 190 bhp xDrive 20D diesel derivative that the vast majority of X3 buyers tend to choose. The latter variant's capable of 56.5 mpg on the combined cycle and 132 grams per kilometre of CO2. Now the other option is the one we're trying here, the 6-cylinder 3-litre xDrive 30D diesel, which we think hits a very appealing power, performance and efficiency sweet spot in the range, if you can stretch to it. Whatever your choice of variant there, you should feel the road-going experience served up by the X3 is a cut above that of most direct competitors, if you're one of those people who likes to drive. There's a superior compromise between agility and ride quality, an engaging rearward bias for the xDrive four-wheel drive system, and more precise steering than you'd normally expect for a car of this kind. Plus, you also get BMW's usual DPC, Drive Performance Control System, which allows you to change the steering, the throttle and the gear change timings via selectable settings. Though the exterior dimensions here are hardly changed over those of the previous model, this third generation X3 has significantly more roadside presence than its predecessor. Now, predictably, it shares many aesthetic cues with its smaller X1 showroom stablemate, which isn't surprising since both models are the work of the same stylist. That's Australian designer Calvin Look. Of course, as usual, what's more important is what you can't see, primarily the fact that the underskin architecture, which in previous X3s was based on a 3 Series, now draws from more upmarket 5 Series drive technology. There's a reason that this car feels more sophisticated than both on the road and in the cabin. So let's take a look at the inside in a little more detail. You're seated in the pleasingly commanding position that you'll want if you've switched into an X Series model from either a 3 or a 5 Series. And for the first time in an X3, you're treated to a properly premium experience behind the wheel here. Now, we mentioned the newfound close relationship this third generation model has now with the BMW 5 Series model. Well, inside you really feel that, perhaps most notably with the use this X3 now makes of the cutting edge media connectivity systems from that car. Specifically, this means the 10.25 inch professional multimedia setup, which is either standard or optional depending on the variant you've chosen. Base models get conventional gauges, but as an option you can replace those with virtual dials that come as part of the TFT digital cockpit screen that's fitted as standard on the top M40i variant. M Sport trim models like this one get this compromised semi-digital cockpit arrangement. Time to take a seat in the back. A 6-footer will be able to sit comfortably behind a driver of similar size, which is about as much as you can ask of a mid-sized SUV of this sort. There is seat backrest reclining functionality, but you do have to pay extra for that. Let's take a look out back. Once the powered hatch rises, you're provided with 550 litres of capacity. Now, if you have paid extra for the reclining back seat, that process is neatly activated by these cargo sidewall catches. And once they've been pulled, a 1,600 litre cargo area is revealed. BMW has had a lot to do with the rise in popularity of mid-sized premium SUVs, having sold over 1.5 million of them since the X3 was first launched, pioneering this segment back in 2003. Rivals have grabbed the headlines since, but with this third generation model, the Bavarians are out to redefine what a car of this kind should be. In many ways, this Mark III model does just that. Yes, it's true that it doesn't offer much that's radically different to what we've seen before in this class, but everything it does do is so complete and polished that it's hard not to admire the end result. A vehicle this good ought to speak for itself. Try one and we think you'll find that it does.